What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Episode 5. So in this one, Koichi remembers when he invited some classmates to his place to hang out, but since he lives in like an abandoned building, everyone thought he was trying to do something to them. So basically, he's ostracized by all his classmates, and so and goes back to the present time where Pop visits him and sees him sewing his All Might hoodie, and he mentions that he had like the entire collection except one that went missing because when he was going to take the hero course exam, he was late because he saved a kid from who fell in a nearby lake, and he gave the kid the hoodie to keep the kid warm before he ran off, but he missed the exam. Which he's happy about it. He hopes the kid's inspired to become a true hero. Pop's mad, and then she leaves to reveal that she was the kid who was saved, and she's had the hoodie for years, and she's into Koichi. She tries to return the hoodie to him to reveal that she was the kid who was saved, but basically, Knuckle Duster being there and Koichi being Koichi, basically she's like unable to like do it, and she leaves again. And so later, Akira, that hardening instant villain, he takes Trigger again and goes on that rampage. Koichi tries to fight him alone, but he's unable to beat him, and he's saved by this Tana. You know, he's wielding like vigilante named Stendhal. He thinks Stendhal is cool and talks about him to Knuckle Duster. And then Pop tells Koichi about a senior of Ichimoku, who's one of those middle school fans of hers. And this person has information for them. It ends up being Soga, and since they're not very welcoming, he leaves. And Akira is hunted down by Stendhal. Stendhal just kills him, saying that he talks about what he believes about like conviction, judgment, crime, and all that. And then he prepares to so then he starts preparing to kill Soga and his crew. And Kuin is intrigued, like she's interested in what's going on. So yeah, so they're gonna get into like dark side of vigilantes, which is like you have those that go too far and kill people. So like Stain, if Stain was you know not killing heroes. You know, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers. No spoilers. Yes, I'm not gonna give any spoilers about Stendhal, but he is important, to the franchise. I'm not gonna say how, but let's just say he's not someone you should look up to. Like he's not someone any character should look up to. You know. But yeah, I've really liked this episode. So it's pretty good. Interesting backstory for Pop, Koichi, and looking forward to next week's episode. Zatsu Tabi, that's Journey episode 5. So this one, Chika goes to this one location where there's a waterfall, and then after asking a local about any other location, she goes to this cave that has a sake brewery inside it. You know, kind of a rare sight, a brewery being inside of a cave. Basically some of the stuff she's learned, experienced during her previous trips. She remembers so like the whole thing about looking at the stones to compare the ages of the like structures, which that was interesting. Then obviously Riri, how she's like a drunk and really likes sake, and basically all the stuff with other characters. She thinks that she probably wants to keep going with other people. So then her next trip is with Kuyomi to like a beach area. Now Kuyomi forgets her bathing suit. Chika did remember hers, but she doesn't care about going to the beach. So they go to a hot springs. You know, that's really it for the episode. I mean, it takes them a while to get there. Like they barely made it there in time. Like it took them a while to get over there. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. That was funny. It was interesting seeing Chica like think back to her previous trips, how it affected her current one. I thought that was interesting. Thought it was a good episode. Look forward to next week's. Watson, episode 12. So on this one, the Holmes Clinic, has built up their library of DNA from like all their patients so that Watson can investigate like different mutations. That's like his life's work. So basically, Watson he mentions that Shinwell is like AWOL, but you know, basically that's kind of subsided when Moriarty poses as a patient, shows up, and Tyrion offers to quote unquote treat him. Like Watson doesn't recognize Moriarty, so when Tyrion talks to Moriarty, he gives her a task to destroy the DNA samples, basically, and put some foreign substances into the petri dishes. And Tyrion mentions that she knows that this won't be the only job she does for him. Moriarty's like, he's like, yeah, but you'll be free the other times. And so then we have the Croft twins, where Steven starts. So basically, Adam starts showing signs of like, a relapse because he's a former addict. Then, he's admitted, and then he admits to Steven, his twin brother Stevens, that he did relapse, but he doesn't believe that his symptoms are from that. Stevens agrees. So they investigate this black mold that Adam got exposed to during a previous medical investigation because he wasn't wearing proper PPE. And then he reveals that Adam, Adam reveals that the relapse happened when like he took like his girlfriend's like hydrocodone, you know, that she did not take with her when she left for a weekend. And he did 6 pills in 2 days. Yeah. So basically, there's a whole lot of stuff about what's going to happen. Basically, so Darian does do what Moriarty wants her to do, but she records the message to Lubbock, you know, the the other doctor with the female doctor with the southern accent. Darian records a message about it, and then like she deletes it. I don't understand why she recorded it. Then I guess it's just a vent. like, yeah, if she didn't delete it, it would have made more sense. But anyway, so Mary, Watson's ex-wife, Mary wants to file it as a intoxication in the workplace case. Yeah, and Stevens is afflicted with similar symptoms. He basically like so both twins are admitted. They see something's wrong with their brains. So Moriarty he leaves, you know. So it's revealed that the two twins are infected with herpes simplex. Yeah, a very extreme case of that. So they try to treat it with antiviruses. That don't work. And basically it's revealed that the strain that each of them have is like genetically engineered to affect them. And so Shinwell returns him, admits to everyone that he's been helping Moriarty and that the clinic have been made the virus, and that Moriarty's been using the research to create, you know, bioweapons to target specific people. But for this, Shinwell is doing it to protect his loved ones, and Shinwell's doing it to Adam was a target because he may have overheard something he shouldn't have. Stevens is probably collateral damage. Shinwell says he has some wound in his neck. He leaves. So then everyone's more focused on dealing with the twins. And Watson tells everyone to leave so that they would be safer. But Lubbock, Mary, and Darian, they're all like they're staying. They want to stay to help him against Moriarty. And then Darian decides to use the situation to convince Mary to not fire her and put her on probation. Which I'm like, okay, this ain't time for that. This is not a time for that. And Mary's like, if we catch you do anything else, you're gone. So yeah, once Darian's, you know, employment to Moriarty's revealed, she's freaking screwed. And I have no sympathy for that cunt. No, she has the nerve to ask to negotiate over this. Like, no, not the time for that. Yeah. And so basically, Lubbock and Stevens talk. Feels that, they talk about, I guess, how they have feelings for each other. And so Watson figures out the procedure. But, but let's reveal that the damages to the petri dishes that Deering had, that Deering was sabotaging was the ones for the twins. So Watson's able to salvage enough for one dose. So the episode ends with them trying to decide which one to save. Yeah. Yes, so like Tyrion freaking sucks. Like, I have no sympathy for her. She deserves everything that's coming to her. Like, she should be fired. She should go to prison. And she's like, "Oh, I'm doing everything to help my sister." Well, okay, but you committed murder. Now the guy was a prick, no one's gonna miss him, but she did murder her father. She basically is guilty for murder, guilty for murder, or at least an accessory in the case of the twins. And yeah, you know, this mystery show, this needs a Sherlock Holmes. There is no Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, I didn't really like this episode. You know, Moriarty's kind of underwhelming. You know, he should. There is no charisma. There is no presence with Moriarty, and that's a problem. He's not a compelling villain. But yeah, next week's the finale. We'll see how they sell things there. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.